website at ico.org.uk/privacy-notice. Our helpline is for organisations, people who work for themselves, and for members of the public. Please note, we will treat all people with courtesy and respect, and we expect the same. If anyone behaves in an unreasonable way to our staff, we will bring the call to a close. To help get you through to the right team, please select from the following 3 options. If you know the extension number of the person you want to speak to, please press 1. If you're calling from an organisation, a small club or association, you're a sole trader, or you work for yourself, please press 2. If you're a member of the public, please press 3.
3.
Here are your 3 options. To discuss an enquiry or complaint you've already sent to us, please press 1. To discuss a new enquiry or complaint with us, please press 2. If you're a whistleblower and are considering making a protected disclosure under the whistleblowing provisions of UK legislation, please press 3. To listen to these options again, please press the hash key. Or, to return to the main menu, to discuss an enquiry or complaint you've already sent to us, please press 1. To discuss a new enquiry or complaint with us,
2.
please. We're now transferring you to a member of our team. We regularly update our website with new advice and guidance. Please visit ico.org.uk and select Your Data Matters to find out more about your personal data rights. If you're concerned about the way an organisation is handling your information, we expect the organisation to work with you to resolve the issue. You can use the template letter on our website to raise your concerns with them. Please visit ico.org.uk, select Your Data Matters, and follow the link to Your Right to Raise a Concern. We're sorry, it's taking us longer to answer your call than we'd like. Want to find out more about your right to get copies of your data? Good afternoon, you're through to Nicola. How can I help?
Hi Nicola. I'm making some general inquiries as a member of the public. I'm just trying to find out who the data protection officer is for the Department of Work and Pensions. Would you be able to assist me with this?
I may be able to. Just give me a moment. I can have a look. Not sure who their DPO is. Are you wanting contact information? Are you wanting an email address, that sort of thing?
Well, no, I just want to know. I mean, first of all, is the Department of Work and Pensions (DWP) registered with yourself as an organisation that's compliant to the Data Protection Act? I mean, I know there's a register. Are they registered with yourself?
Well, we don't. Our registration isn't about compliance or not compliance. That an organisation is registered with us doesn't indicate that we've decided they are compliant, if you see what I mean.
No, I understand. Sorry, that was my mistaken phraseology. I just wanted to know, can they be searched on your database?
I'm not sure. I can have a look. So yes, they are registered with us.
Okay, and if they're registered with yourself, then they must. Is the in the Data Protection Act? Is it not written that they have to make me aware who the person is who's the data protection officer?
I'm not sure if they have to give you a specific name actually, but I can find out for you.
How are you going to find out?
I'm going to ask somebody who knows.
Okay, all right. Are you gonna ask the DWP?
No, no.
All right. So can you ask the?
I'm going to find out whether they're legally required.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't necessarily
Yes.
give you any names.
That's correct. Yes.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Sorry. So, yeah, if you could, my understanding is that they are legally required to provide me with the name of the data protection or a point of contact or a data protection officer. So, if you can just find out for us if that is a legal requirement.
Sure. No problem. Right. So no, I'm being told that they don't have to provide the name of the DPO. Only, contact information for data protection issues generally.
Okay. What do you mean they have to provide general information? Do they not have to provide me with a point of contact of the data protection officer? Is that correct?
I don't believe so, no. They, a lot of organisations have emails for their data protection team, and things like that. So they might have a privacy email that's just for privacy issues. Some organisations don't even have a separate email address. They only have one email address for all issues that people want to contact them for, like small organisations.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's fine as long as they respond appropriately.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. As you can appreciate, some people are like sole traders; they don't need a dedicated person. But I would think an organisation such as a government department, such as the Department of Work and Pensions, would have an allocated data protection officer, because many large or public organizations do have a data protection officer. So for example, if you're dealing with a local authority, they would have a dedicated data protection officer, or alternatively if you were dealing with an NHS organization, so they would have a data protection officer. And it was my understanding that if they have a data protection officer, alternatively if it's a small organization, the most senior individual in that organization, normally the proprietor or the owner of the company, takes on that role of the data protection officer, but not as a formal position, but they handle all those issues and queries. So but with regards to the Department of Work and Pensions, I wanted to know the name of the data protection officer, because I thought that would be open information. And what you're explaining to me is that as a department of government, they're not required to provide me with the name of the data protection officer?
Not under data protection law, no.
Okay, all right. Would you be able to confirm to me if would you be able to point me in the legislation where it deals with these rights?
Well, I'm saying this right doesn't exist. There isn't a requirement for them to give you their name.
Okay, that's fair enough. But would you be able to point? I would like to do my own due diligence and look at the legislation myself, because as you can appreciate, the Data Protection Act 2018 is a lengthy document. So would you be able to point me in the right direction of the legislation, or where it does deal with what rights there are and what are particularly pertaining to the data protection officer? Does that even, I mean, surely in the legislation it must indicate that there must be a data protection officer or a data.
It does talk about the data protection officer,
Yes.
yes.
So could you just tell me what section that comes under?
I can have a look. So, Chapter 4,
Okay.
69 to 71.
Just one second. Chapter 4. Chapter 4, 69
Yeah.
to 71. Okay, and that deals with that's the part of the legislation that deals with the data protection officers.
It seems to be, yes. Designation of a data protection officer. Yeah, so there's, it tells them that they have to have one and things like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll take a look at that. And that is an implementation of the European Union Data Protection Regulation GDPR. That's correct, yes?
GDPR is, UK GDPR is an implementation of EU GDPR.
Is not the Data Protection Act 2018 the implementation of the European Union GDPR?
No, we have a UK GDPR. It's a separate regulation. They work together.
Okay, my understanding was, and maybe I'm incorrect in this, my understanding was that the Data Protection Act 2018 legislation is the implementation of the GDPR legislation, European legislation. So when you're saying to me that there's a separate GDPR, where's that?
UK GDPR.
Yes.
Yeah, that's available on the government website that has all the legislation. The same place where the Data Protection Act is.
Okay, is GDPR UK GDPR legislation, is that something separate?
Yeah.
Okay, and what year does that come under? Like the Data Protection Act 2018 is a legislation I can look up. So the GDPR legislation, what year is that?
2016. It's not an act, it's regulations. But yeah, it's 2016. It's also on the government website.
Okay.
And they're both in play.
Okay.
So
Well,
they work together.
I understand.
Yeah, they're not like compete of each other.
I understand. So that was a clarity of my understanding, because I had a different understanding. So the act, the 20. So how does the 2018 DPR Data Protection Act relate to the GDPR regulation, the UK GDPR regulation?
Well, they work together in that the Data Protection Act, it contains some like extra details that aren't included in the regulations, but that refer to them. It also has some sector-specific guidance, so it has a lot of guidance on, say, law enforcement processing or national security processing. It has a bunch of other guidance, but they're just two laws that are both about data protection, and they're both in play.
Okay, all right. So, so this with regards to this UK GDPR, how does that differ from the European Union GDPR? Is it because we've instigated Brexit and that's why it's happened? Or would it be like one regulation covering the whole of Europe? I'm just trying to understand why there's a UK regulation when there's a European regulation already, and we were part of the European Union.
Well, it's not a result of Brexit. It's from 2016. But my understanding is that it's almost the same as the EU version.
I see.
Maybe, our version is compliant with the EU version. It's not in contradiction. It's our attempt to make sure that we're compliant with the EU regulations.
I see. I think this must be like an English thing, because like we refuse to go on the metric system and we have the imperial system because we like to do things our own way. We like to do things our own
Maybe.
way. We don't want the euro, so we kept on to holding onto the pound. So that may be why they've created their own regulation, which is a bit confusing to me, because I thought when we were part of the European Union, we were all together, all for one. But the English or the British like to do things their own way. Anyway, that's been very helpful to me. Thank you for that clarity of understanding. Now, I had a further question to ask, and that was in relation to, just like you've established and looked into the Department of Work and Pensions and established that they are like registered with yourself, i.e., you've been able to locate them on your systems. Can I also ask you to locate and determine if the Office of the Public Guardian are registered with yourself as a separate organization?
Sure. Can't find them. It may be that they fall under a different government department.
Okay, so I just
But
want.
say if they're sponsored by the Ministry of Justice,
Yeah, that's
it's
correct.
potentially that it might be part of them.
I think that's what my inquiries are leading me to believe. I just wanted to confirm that from yourself, that unlike the Department of Work and Pensions, which is a separate organization and registered with yourself, the Office of the Public Guardian is not a separate organization. When I've made my inquiries with them, they've equally advised me. I think I've been led to believe that it comes under the Ministry of Justice. So, can I just confirm that in the absence of the Office of the Public Guardian being registered with yourself, that the Ministry of Justice is an organisation similar to the Department of Work and Pensions and is registered with yourself?
It is, yes.
Okay, all right. And would you be able to tell me, I mean, with regards to the Department of Work and Pensions, I have determined through my own inquiries and research who the data protection officer is. I believe the person, it's somebody called Dominic Hartley. I was just looking to establish if that was information that would be readily available to me from the Information Commissioner's Office. And obviously, you've not been you've not been in a position to disclose that to me. But I similarly have been trying to inquire and make my own inquiries from the Ministry of Justice whether they have who the data protection officer is, and I'm not having much joy in this. So would you be able to give me some try to see if you can find out how I can go about determining who the data protection officer is for the Ministry of Justice?
Well, like I already said, they're not legally obligated to give you that person's name under the legislation, and I can't give you any data that isn't publicly available.
Yes, that's fine.
So if we have extra data on our systems that's just for us and our correspondence,
okay,
then that is sometimes the case.
Yeah,
but we can't necessarily give that out.
Okay, so
if you, generally speaking, any information that they have decided to make publicly available should be in their privacy policy. But if there isn't a named individual in the privacy policy, it's unlikely that they're releasing that information.
Okay.
You could write to them and ask.
I have.
Data protection they may give it you, they may not.
Yeah, I have done so, and like I said, there's some new information that you've provided to me in this call. One of the new information that you've provided to me is the fact that there is no obligation on an organization to provide a large public organization like the Ministry of Justice or the Department of Work and Pensions or a local authority or like a health authority to provide a named individual as a data protection officer. My own research and understanding obviously is not correct, then I'm just going to go.
What I've told you is that there's no obligation under data protection legislation to provide that information. I don't know whether public bodies are under other regulations, given that they're public bodies and publicly funded. They may be required to provide that information under different legislation. I can't really advise on that. But under data protection legislation, there's no obligation.
Okay, and my understanding was it was under the Data Protection Act itself that there was an obligation, and I was referring to the European Union GDPR sections. But now I understand that I've just looked up the 2016 UK GDPR, and I think it's just basically an administrative process where the European Union have got this GDPR regulation, and all member states must look to implement their own version of that regulation. So for example, in their own language or something. So the UK version is just basically an implementation in English or maybe and so in Portuguese they would be writing their own GDPR Portuguese regulation in the Portugal language. So I don't think the UK GDPR is any different from the European Union GDPR, and it was my understanding from my research on the European GDPR legislation or regulations that it was an obligation for them to, if they don't have one, that's fair enough, but if they do have a data protection officer, they need to make me aware of that, provide me with their contact details. So I'm going to do further research to find out if that is the case. But I think that's the end of my queries today. Thank you very much, Nicola.
You're very welcome.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.